Hi, this is Trevor Conquergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video for the week. And this week we're going to learn about the alignment and the distribution tools. I'll pop over onto my workspace and they're found right here. Of course, they're dimly lit right now because we'll need something to align before we can use them. Let's visit our library tab and select October 2023, where you'll find some cool Halloween designs, including these fun Halloween spider webs. If I try and select this one spider web and it selects everything, then that means it's all grouped together, and I can ungroup it by either clicking here on the sort of floating dynamic toolbar, or it's also parked up at the top in the main toolbars, and you can also right click over top to find the option for group and ungroup. And so however you ungroup, once you do, if you click on the empty space, you'll let go of your selection. And now if you click to select this spider web, you'll find out that actually it's made up of a series of smaller pieces. And if I want to select that spider web, it might be easier to click and drag on an empty workspace and kind of surround all of that spider web with my selection box. And once it's selected, I may want to just group it back together again so that I could easily click to select all of it at one time. And in that way, you can, select any of these spider webs and group them back together. And so that's one of the things that you might want to use, is simply group and ungroup. But certainly if you were planning on taking this spider web and copying it and starting a new workspace and pasting it in, and then you were going to copy it and maybe use flip to sort of flip it the other direction. And at this point, you really just want to make sure that they're sort of balanced to each other. And, maybe your eyes aren't real good and one's off to one side. Maybe that's the point and you like them like this. But if you're going to put, text in between and you want them to be nice and balanced, we can use the alignment tools. You can even, you can do it now or you can do it at the end. It doesn't matter. Put your text in. So it says my text. Let's make it say spider, and click apply. And so now we have, three individual sort of pieces. And yes, you can put them together visually. And sometimes I even like to use a guideline. You can click on the ruler to bring in guidelines to help you with balancing things. But the reality is the easiest way to make it balanced is to just select it all. And when it's all selected, over here, now notice the alignment tools and the distribution tools are lit up. And in this case, probably the best alignment tool I would want to use would be to align to the center horizontally. So that way it'll kind of make sure that all of those three things are even on the same kind of horizontal sort of center line. And then I could also use the distribute tool to make sure that I have even spaces distributed vertically. So that'll put the word spider kind of evenly and perfectly in the center of our design. And so see how those tools up there kind of help me to assemble together my embroidery design and get that perfect balance that you're looking for. So if we go back to our original design here, and let's just say that you had a whole bunch of these spider webs. So let's group it together and make a copy of it, and maybe there was 3 or 4 copies of it and you wanted to align them in like along a line. I could put one here and bring the other ones here. And so what I need to figure out is how far along the line do I want them all to go. And you can try and spread them out visually. But you'll always have 2 that seem closer together or one that's not far enough apart. The main thing is to measure, from one edge to the other edge. How long do they need to fit in your embroidery project? And then select all of them. And first of all, go to your alignment tools. And now you might choose and see there's a whole lot of options. Align to the left or the right, to the top, to the bottom. Align along the horizontal centers. Well, that doesn't work here because it'll just push them all to the same spot, basically. So I'll undo. But you can see where align to the bottom makes sense. So if I choose align to the bottom, it'll make sure they're all perfectly along the same bottom line. But then they're not really evenly distributed. And so, like I said, it won't change the first one or the last one, but if you use distribute and you ask it to distribute horizontally, it will space them evenly along the horizon. So I think you'll find that the alignment tool and the distribution tool are very helpful, and sometimes it's just a simple matter of getting it centered in your hoop. Like if I turn on my embroidery hoop and it's like, well, everything's centered, but it's not really in the center of the embroidery hoop, so maybe you've chosen a slightly larger embroidery hoop that has room for all of your embroidery, but you're concerned that it's not centered, so you select all of the embroidery. And now you can choose the alignment tool. And here in alignment, you have an option for center to the rulers. And that will move it like perfectly to the center of your hoop. And the other one that we could look at would be if I took, for example, and just drew a shape like a circle or something like that, and then selected it and made like a copy of the circle, another copy of the circle, and then I wanted them to be different sizes, and so I selected them all, and I made some bigger and I made some smaller, but I really wanted them to all be like centered together. And you can try and center them, but you'll always get them kind of a little bit sort of off each other. Well, when you select all three shapes, so notice when I just click and drag to draw a box around all three circles, that in my sequence view, all three circles become selected. And now if I use my tool here for alignment and I choose align, the last option is align to selected objects. So it'll center all of those circles to be perfectly centered together. So even if you've got them like completely messed up and you select all three of them and you ask it to align to the center of the objects, it puts them all back together. So the handy dandy alignment and distribution tools are excellent for creating balance in a design. And we hope you enjoyed this week's RNK Software Club's video for the week.